That's my logbook. It's originally designed for 2023 to 2024, but actually it lasts longer. That's the quick sketch of Glenelg and the Glenelg Town Halls. That one is Adelaide have a famous antique car show every year. I think they end up in McLaren Wow. So I just drew that sketched about it. That's one of my students and the sketch during the lesson. That's a famous designer, fashion designer, I think. Randall Moore. And it's also another pen sketch. I like the brown color. Norwood Bicycle Club. I was drawing a sketch of that. Practice of an old man by sketch. That's just a quick drawing sketch by memory when I close the intersection. That's also another student of mine. That's a sketch based on a sculpture. It's light watercolor based on a house. Sketch again, practice. That's the corner of Randall Street and Green Hill Street in Adelaide. Quick sketch of a horse. In Adelaide, if you close white square, and the people is actually drinking on that little vehicle, bicycle. Quick sketch. Practice lighting. And that's the year of chicken. I think it's Spring Festival. I feel quite boring and waiting, so I just drew this fantasy scribble. That's a bird. I tried to test my metallic watercolor when it just arrived, so it's a little bit shiny by the color. That one is a lady, the actress from Criminal Record. I think I watched that TV series at the time and I just drew it by memory. Another fantasy, not yet finished, people gathering in a pub. That's Victoria Hall Rising. I think it's a cargo, they dragging that. That one's funny, it's a fantasy sketching a magical bird. And I think it's a student gave me an enhance and say, teacher, could you please draw something magical? And that's where it comes from. And that's me again. In the 40-degree night, there was a flight get into my toilet and I don't know what happened. Another sketch based on an, I think it's marble sculpture. Other sketch practice. Sketch practice again. Yeah, that's I like the hand, so I just do the sketch based on the sculpture. That's the pastel drawing. Another one. Okay, this is my mom and I prepare a little house by making the cardboard for my tiny little bunny. She's 2 years old now. And that's fantasy. I'm just dreaming a bridge crash for the very disaster. And those helicopters comes to rescue and the bridge is fall off. The bus is chopping by half. People are falling down. So you can see those people are yelling and get into a very deep river or ocean under. That's quite a scene. I think I spent a couple of hours on it. That one's another fantasy drawing. I dreaming my garden. It's actually how to say, invaded by aliens. They pretended to be the flora and plants, and actually all those frogs and everything is the misguided by these alien beings. So the spiders actually making a cocoon, and this is hatching from it. And there's a mouse actually is quite robotic. Well, that's in 2024. That's another one. Is a fantasy as well. I just got an inspiration by a mole person, and it's riding a bead and then go through a castle, and there was a prime minister and another little alien guy and they are just having a battle. That's my another drafting. Just capture the swan's movement and practice a little bit. That one's actually come up with a very good drawing. It's a fantasy of the city skyline. It looks like a city, but actually I imagine it is a lady just crouching and laying, sleeping. That's the fantasy inspired by my little bunny. I thought she can fly in somehow. And that's me, I think. Very iconic. Drawing my sketches and looking at the canvas. And through this canvas, I can have a vision of a city. And looks like a man's coaching there. And the aeroplanes on top. And it is a city in a skyline and perspective, but I'm more than happy to present it as a giant. This is also interesting, learning the Chinese building structure, the Asian one, how they build up the liang and zhu to help support the systems without falling and even secure in earthquake. And that's how those sun mao, the structures building up and topping from each other. It takes quite a bit of the skills and memories. And that's another drafting called Chasing the Wind. It's another charcoal drawing. I do it pretty big. That's another charcoal drawing sketch draft, and that's also the fantasy drawing of a lady's face come up from the woods. Little houses all around. Okay, this is dancing, the break dancing. And this is the end little house, scribble doodling with a pen and highlight the color with color pencil. This is me trimming the trees branches from the backyard. Mom tried to throw the root to meet and tied up these branches and avoid to falling down unexpectedly. Okay, that's me fixing my roof. So from the top of the roof I can see the whole outline skylight. I'm quite enjoying that view, and the little birds fly over. And this is a quite interesting memory, so I draw it down after I finish my project. Mom throwing something up to the roof and helping me climbing the ladders, and there was a magpie spying on us. And Mom's helping me all the times with the project. Please forget the little gap. Okay, this is the sketch of an old house. I think it takes quite a bit. That's another charcoal drawing sketch preparation. I think I didn't done it. That is a Japanese ninja. And this is the little house for testing my 12 colors watercolor brush set. I just bought it from Aldi for $2. And this is a little small village in perspective drawing by pen. I try to test that set again. This is people playing horseball. Quick one. Little garden, backyard. These are all very quick little sketch. Use those watercolor brush set. I just want to see how good they are. They don't have much option of the colors, but it's come out the results pretty good. And that's my garden. Mom's watering the veggies. Little guys are always helping around. We have quite a bit of the garden bed and planting veggies during the winter and springtime. And I have a very beautiful blooming of my peach tree while I'm doing my charcoals fixing. I try to use the fixative to enhance the drawing, but when I'm doing it, I don't want to do it indoors, so I bring my varnish bottles out and do my dustings and everything's outside. This is me holding a brush. This is my gloss varnish. And that's my backyard. I have a plum trees, pear trees, peach trees, little peach trees, banana trees, and mulberry, mandarins, garden bed, and all the others. This is from the Moon Festival from 2024, a little fantasy drawing from the Monkey King story, but I turn it into the movie factory scenes. So that moon's actually a balloon holding by these workers under, and little characters here looking their scripts, those actors, and the peoples are doing the filming, and that fat guy loses a slipper sandal. And that's Monkey King. Okay, Monkey King's quite good, but actually it's motion capture by the actor behind it. Alright, so you can, that's me doing my sketch here. And then those people are the press. They come to interview how what happened. Unfortunately, the guys underneath try to grab something's losing on the ground. And the ladies. Okay, filming the camera. No animal actually been abused. That's all robotic. Okay, that's the corner of the studio. I'm teaching drawing there. Okay, oh, that's another fantasy. I'd like to have a panda festival for bye-bye to the 2 panda we have, send them back to China, so everyone doing the drawing. I think that's just too exaggerate, so I draw this fantasy based on that event. That's me again. Mom tried to catch the little guy in the garden. That's impossible. She's got wild. And that's the scenes from my dream. I don't know. Seems like I've been there, but I never actually see it anywhere close enough light. So I just draw it down. It seems like a beach to me, and then have a decking. People do fishing, and there was a coffee on the decking area. So there was a boat and people walking, having buffet there. But that place not exist, just in my dream. Okay, that's also another practice with my student. He described somebody, I never saw it, and I just draw it based on his description. And that's the real guy, okay? I draw it after, but that's based on his description. Okay, and this is my studio when the students are fully occupied doing their creation work, pottery, drawing, and everything. Okay. And I'm just trying to recording the normal practice day, and that was me. That's another guy, is actually the young version of Jackie Chan, but I don't know who it is. The student described it and I draw it. I started. So that's also another drafting for my big versions of paintings. Okay, and that one I actually turning into a very big funny. The quick sketch, and then that too, I'm fixing my roof again because there was a little rubber rings here is too old. When I'm fixing it, Mom's turned on the stove vent, so I'm quite of get a blow off on the top. And that's another pen and color pencil sketch, just demonstration for still life. That too. And this one's too, like architect. That too. It's a sketch and use pen and color pencil. Try to show how to use the hatching by using pen. And that's the city. Just get a screenshot for the TV series, and then I'm drawing a sketch by using a different hatching skills. That's another pen sketch. I think I watched the movie F1. After that, cannot help to draw it down. It's just too like it too much. This one is from a memory. I remember my grandpa bring me to a little local market when I was a child, and they always use those snakes to make alcohol, and they also have those ducky for selling fresh, and also those dry herbs, put it into the very big vase and making kimchi stuff. And that's another fantasy under the ocean. People are rescuing it, mermaid. Big submarine. That's a big submarine. And then there's a lot of fish. Turtle man again. Capture a marine and train it. And this is the main character. He's fighting also with the objects. His body is trying to cut his tentacles off to help him. So that's quite a bit of the fantasy. Another still life with marker, another drafting, and that's a Japanese building house. Fantasy of ballet dancing. That's my hand under the sunlight. Another girl. 15 minutes. That's me rescuing a magpie who got his legs twisted by those vines. I cut it off and set it free, but he left crippled after all. That's the famous actor Bruce Lee. Try to do a sketch of him. Imagination fantasy sketching about my bunny. She's a little Netherlands dwarf, very smart guy. A little frog with my new marker, acrylic marker, and that's my friend's motorbike. Another fantasy again. I think it's the cross the river of forgiveness, I guess. And then there was a lot of imagination characters. The guy with a with a stick, actually is a magical guy who running this boat, who cross this river, and is a little monkey actually is hooking the people's soul. That's the fox. That's the fox. And the maid actress, and she's actually the same race of him, but she's not turning yet, I guess. So that's done by 2025. That's the detailed design of the character. Okay, that's these little monkeys turned to a human form. And that's me when I'm planning my artwork, thinking of that, consider the budget and everything, start preparing the paper, and then I'm doing the the framing, doing the taping and the drawing, and all of these hard work. Finally I can start creation. Okay, so that's done in earlier this year. That's another memory from my childhood. That's my grandpa and my grandma bring me across the streets, go to the cinema, and there was some blind guys in the roadside to holding the business of massage. I still remember that, so I drew it down. And that's a little design of a little mini furniture. Okay, so I do this sketch first and then turning into this little fantasy set here. So I'm making by the straws. They're quite delicate. By Doudou Huang inspiration. The city, I think it's a Guangzhou. Quick marker. It's the hunting dog sketch. That's another fantasy city. So people are in the bus stop, little shops, going to the zebra, and there's a little market, night market. People doing their barbecue. Okay, and across that, parents pick up their children, and the people's delivering, and cross the road with a little puppy having noodles in the night shops. And girl from the village comes here, people hanging their clothes, dripping the water to your neighbors, playing mahjong, little vegetable and veggie shop. The birds resting here with orders, smoke buttons. Okay, so that's done recently. And that's another sketch. A man handing a sandwich when he's traveling to feed those dogs. Okay, so that's the most recent.